The series begins. A cleaner named Bernie Luce is in the Louvre Museum, and the Marie Antoinette necklace is supposed to be auctioned. This has been hidden for 25 years. The important thing is that Bruno one day met his wife, Claire, and he blamed him for not coming to meet his son. So of course he apologized to her and told her that he had a job. A lot and it is necessary to complete and then return to complete his life with them and not leave them again. He promised her that next week he would take their son and go to Claire and make her a beautiful rose from the restaurant tissues. He gave her the expenses of the month, so Claire went and left him alone. So Bryn went to people from whom he borrowed money, but he did not have enough money, so he asked them extra time to pay off his debt, but he did not accept his idea, so they started beating him until they were going to throw him, and he offered them an idea, which is to make him happy to steal Mary's necklace. Antoinette from the museum started laughing at him until he told them that he works there and presented his idea to them, so he began to implement it immediately. Ed divided them roles. One turns off the surveillance cameras and the others take the role of the guards of the necklace. He had to reach for the necklace, and the usual day arrived, and everyone took his place. Suddenly, the problem appeared that the necklace was inside a safe with a secret number. The problem was quickly resolved. Byrne won the auction. He asked the officials to see the necklace. Their third friend was taunting them, so he quickly ran away and the police chased after them, so their friend jumped with them to the ceiling of the museum, and they fell into the hands of the police. The police came to investigate what the victim was, to know the extent of what happened. He told them that the robbers beat them and took the necklace and fled. All of this is a plan from him. The real story is as follows. Byrne, his second real name is Diop, and he is not a cleaner, but is a TV witness. So he applied to the post in the museum, so he gave him Arsène Lupin's book to borrow money from us, and he worked for him in his plan, who is the owner of the real necklace, and he had a daughter, Juliette, who loved Diop very much, even after they grew up, but given to love his son and his wife Claire. One day, he took the necklace and went to my house to take his library, so he was angry with him and ordered him to take Ben to work. His wife did not accept the order. She gave him a book to give to his child as compensation. This book was for LUPIN. He was imprisoned, and when his son decided to visit him in prison, he found him committed suicide, so he wrote and stayed alone for a long time with sadness because of his father's wrongdoing, and for the length of this period, he searched for his father's needs until once and found his father's chest. He found Lupin's book and took Lupin as a role model. Take him there and think of this officer because we will return to him. As for his life in the orphanage, she was dull and depressed until one day he came. The manager told him that there was a donor who paid him expenses. He entered the school, so he actually entered the school and got to know Yusuf. They completed their lives and they became best friends, and also got to know Claire and they love each other because he once defended them from some bullies. They tried to beat her even though he got to know her, but he couldn't tell her about his father's story. After the days of Claire and Byrne, they got married, but Claire felt that her husband was a thief and wanted to divorce him, but at the same time she loved him, but love blinded her, so she went to a psychiatrist to tell her about her current situation and searched for her. So, the doctor replied, "You can leave him, and if there are no children, you will forget him for some days." so she went to make sure that she was pregnant. After the test, she knew that she was pregnant. So, unexpectedly, she was happy. She went out with her husband to dinner and told him that she was pregnant, and he was very happy. Because of all the joy, Clara forgot the decision to separate after that. I told you Diop's story. I sure knew why he stole the necklace. I'm sure to get revenge on the Pellegrini family for what they did to his father. Let's go back from the past to Diop's taking his son to his owner Yusuf's shop and leaving him alone in the basement to see the contract and make sure that it breaks up whenever you steal, like what the Pellegrini family is, she says. After Yusuf examined him, he found that the contract had not been dismantled beforehand, and that all the stories were all lies, and this could be evidence of his father's innocence. The one who visits her security in the hotel after she got separated from her father, so I asked her about the necklace. The mother was surprised that it was stolen after 25 years. I asked her why you broke up with my father. I answered her that her father was stubborn and had to be divorced. The police and she had a piece of the necklace, so she knew that the message was from the thief of the contract, and she went to him and she agreed with the police, so Diop came to her while he was in the delivery uniform, so he broke the police pin and asked her when she took the contract. The contract and its price remains more expensive, but the truth is that her father found the contract with the merchant 5 years ago and bought it from him. After that, he noticed the police is leaving, so he took his wheel and ran away, and he was his account worker, and he ordered food from the same restaurant. After he escaped and deceived, he was able to escape from the police. When the police asked Juliet about who was with her, she refused to tell his identity because she still loved him. When he returned to the room in which he was sitting away from his family, he saw the message that came to him while he was in the orphanage that the officers found, and it was as follows: that he regretted what they had done and wanted to achieve a decent life for him, and several words of contempt and love. But Diop noticed that a letter had several spelling errors and his father loved to write and it was impossible to make such mistakes, so he went to his friend Yusuf to discuss the issue of this. The message, Yusuf said to him, that it might be just a coincidence, but Diop told him that he searched the prison records and found someone who was with him in the same room, Mir Kamen, and this is the same two comes to his father, and it is forbidden to visit him and he must enter prison in any way, so Joseph tried to stop him, but there is no life for whom you call. He visited a random one named Gabriel and was persuaded to enter his place. Unfortunately, Gabriel was in debt from people in prison. When they noticed that Gabriel fled and Diop entered his place, they asked that he pay the debt in his place within 3 days, otherwise they will kill him, so he agreed. After that, Diop decided to search for Kamen, but he was in the prison hospital and it was forbidden to visit him except for the nurses, so he decided to suffocate with some people, so they attacked him. That his father was forbidden to anyone. He spoke with him and also asked him for a book, and he lent him to him. When he asked him about the location of the book, he replied that he was in the midst of his needs inside his cell. When he found it and opened it, he found some words marked on it, and if you collect them, you will find that they mean I am innocent and imprisoned because of the Pellegrini family. As follows: that he regretted what they had done and wanted to achieve a decent life for him, and several words of contempt and love. But Diop noticed that a letter had several spelling errors and his father loved to write and it was impossible to make such mistakes, so he went to his friend Yusuf to discuss the issue of this. The message, Yusuf said to him, that it might be just a coincidence, but Diop told him that he searched the prison records and found someone who was with him in the same room, Mir Kamen, and this is the same two comes to his father, and it is forbidden to visit him and he must enter prison in any way, so Joseph tried to stop him, but there is no life for whom you call. He visited a random one named Gabriel and was persuaded to enter his place. Unfortunately, Gabriel was in debt from people in prison. When they noticed that Gabriel fled and Diop entered his place, they asked that he pay the debt in his place within 3 days, otherwise they will kill him, so he agreed. After that, Diop decided to search for Common, but he was in the prison hospital and it was forbidden to visit him except for the nurses, so he decided to suffocate with some people, so they attacked him. That his father was forbidden to anyone he spoke with him and also asked him for a book, and he lent him to him. When he asked him about the location of the book, he replied that he was in the midst of his needs inside his cell. When he found it and opened it, he found some words marked on it, and if you collect them, you will find that they mean I am innocent and imprisoned because of the Pellegrini family. So he became angry with his father and made sure that he was innocent and it is necessary to take his right, and after that he decided to escape from prison, and after escaping in the ambulance, he went to visit Pellegrini's ex-wife. She replied that his father was innocent and she could not speak because if she did that, she would die. She is the one who donated the school expenses to him in the past. He told her, after you ruin my life, give me some money to satisfy my conscience. Tell me who did this to my father. She told him that it was the officer, Gabriel Dominic, who handled his father's case, so he went and started looking for the officer and found that he became commissioner in the state, and here the revenge began, and he turned on the artificial intelligence cameras in the commissioner's house to know everything about his life. And the second day he was able to lure and kidnapped him and left him in a dark room and began to ask him in a different voice than his real voice and asked him why his father dressed the accusation, and the commissioner started. He denies, but Diop begins to threaten him with information he knows about Bit, the exploitation of his influence in suspicious deals, which he raised from him when he was looking for him, and began to threaten him with his wife and children, and that he would tell her about all the deals, if he did not talk, but he began to deny and tell that he was telling the truth, but you were the refusal to believe the truth, so he became intolerant of Asani, the fake name of Diop, and told him, you liar, and say why did you put the accusation on my father, and this was a mistake from him because he exposed his identity in front of him because he knew that he had insulted me who took him in the past to the orphanage, and the commissioner told him that you insulted me and you said I wronged your father and forced him to confess things he did not do, but this what you are doing now. I am innocent, and you are trying to stick the charge in me, so leave me now and I will not tell anyone that you kidnapped me. He replied, I will try to believe you, and let him go. At this point, the police were following the car shown in the picture until they knew its location and reached it, and they found the driver, so he told them that there was someone who gave him money to take this box with him, and someone suggested that the kidnapper was still in the house, so they were surprised how a sane person could kidnap someone in his house. He replied that Lupin had said it in one of his novels, so they believed him and went and found Gabriel, but after Asani escaped, Gabriel went to his house to rest and began to think of what Bulgrini had said to him to put the accusation on Asani's father, although he knows that the father is innocent, and he did this to take the insurance money to start his company again. After that his wife came back to reassure him, but Diop was hearing him through the microphone of the artificial intelligence, so he went to break it on the second day that Gabriel was breaking his fast in a restaurant until Asani came to him and started threatening him with his wife to give him some information about Pellegrini. Alia's name is Fabian Biro, so he went looking for her until he found her and told her that Pellegrini destroyed your life and you want revenge, so I will help you. For Pellegrini, he agrees with arms dealers and takes a bribe to allow them to bring weapons to France, but the video is in the newspaper in which she was working, but it was forbidden to enter her after she was separated from her because of Pellegrini, so they made a plan. So Asani entered and took out the tape with him. They went home, so he created a fake account and posted the video on Twitter, so Pellegrini's reputation fell. When he was outside his office, he found the press asking him about the truth of the video. He replied that the video was fabricated, and if he had evidence, it would appear instead of what he was hiding. But the surprise is Fabian Biro, who is hating on him. I asked him, "Are your hands dirty with the blood of innocents?" He was shocked by what he saw and did not reply. When she returned, Asani greeted her with roses and asked her the idea that he would go to a TV show as the leaker of the video, so he started doing a lot of makeup to change his features. When the show started, he was shocked that the video was done. He lacked anything from him to Bulgrini, so he called him a traitor to expel him. Asani was with his friend Youssef and blamed himself for Fabian's death, so he told him that Pellegrini was the reason for her death and said, "Go prepare a sweet gift for your son." Asani said, he is unable to sit with anyone. He noticed that there was a person chasing him, so he decided to escape after a pursuit. Finally, he ran home and gave his son a gift, which was the dress of Arsène Lupin. He was happy with it because he began to relate to the character. Then he told them that he had bought tickets for the train to the Hollow Needle, which was an area in France mentioned in the story. So they rode the towing and they started talking and were hilarious, so they decided to take a souvenir photo. But while Asani was noticing the photo, he noticed the person who was chasing him, but he caught his nerve and took out the cakes and started celebrating, and everyone started to sing along with him, so he got down and went to the bathroom. The other one, Asani, was able to lock him in the toilet and lock him with the key, so he returned to his family. When they arrived at the station, the person came to them and asked his wife to leave and he would follow them, so he stayed with the person and was sent to the police in the name of Paul Cernan, who is the character he denies at the time of stealing the necklace and asking to meet to surrender himself, and gave them the specifications of the person who was chasing him. When he came down, the police came and arrested that person. As you know, the police wanted to arrest Paul after he stole the contract and ran away from them. They did not follow him because he stole the contract. Raoul put on the clothes and went down to the beach, and they were suddenly watching him while they were talking, so they ignored him and he disappeared, and they started looking for him. And unfortunately for them, everyone was wearing Lupin's clothes. But Raoul was kidnapped by the man after Pellegrini ordered the police to release him, but Asani does not know anything about what he is doing. When he was looking for his son, suddenly the officer came to him from behind him and said to Lupin, so he turned to know who was calling for him, and he found the officer. Here the series ends in its first part.